Hey there, so here we have the Arcade1Up Centipede machine. It is currently fully functioning, and what I want to do with this is we're going to convert this to a driving cabinet. So I've got over here, I have an Xbox 360 wireless steering wheel with pedals, and I'm going to do this with Raspberry Pi. We're going to do RetroPie and load it up with some ROMs, and I think I want to do like Outrun and Daytona USA and Cruisin', Pole Position, a few other games, and we'll see if the Raspberry Pi can handle it, and if not, we may need to upgrade to, you know, a PC or something like that, but I figure we'll just start with a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. All right, so the first thing we got to do, this is currently functioning. The first thing we got to do is turn it off, and then we're going to pull it out from the wall, unplug it, and open the back up. Comes right out like so. And of course, you probably have seen this a million times, but we've got the back of the cabinet opened up, and you see here is the board with the games. Here's the ribbon cable that goes to the control panel. This is the monitor, of course, and then everything else is empty. So we've got a lot of room to work with here. All right, before we pull the game board off, we want to get the control panel disassembled so we can get the ribbon off of it. And by doing that, or to do that, we're going to undo these 4 screws. Easy peasy. And the control panel comes out like that. So you see here, you've got the ribbon, and then we're just gonna disconnect the ribbon here. And voila, a centipede panel. All right, and we're back here in the back, and you see the ribbon has been disconnected. And so we just need to get these 2 screws off, that one, and this whole board should pull off. And now we are gonna pull the game board out. And you see, there's the game board, and we got all the connections, and then there's that ribbon cable that goes to the control panel. These cables here go to the monitor, and let's pull all this stuff out. There is the board. Now that the board is off, we've got these exposed wires. So we've got, I think this is the video connector, this is power, and that looks like ground. And now we've got the control panel off, we have the game board off, we literally just have a monitor and a MDF cabinet. So now we get to put our stuff in and make this cabinet what we want to make it. Basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our HDMI output to the monitor that's in the Arcade1 cabinet. So this is basically the piece that we're most concerned with. So you see you've got HDMI, you've got DVI, and you've got VGA. Okay, and here is the board hooked up. For the purposes of this video, we're not going to focus on mounting anything. We're just going to kind of leave it a little janky. And I can go through and mount this all when we're cleaning up. But you see, we're able to plug this cable into here, this cable into here. I have the ground here right now. I don't know that that's going to work, but we'll go with it for now. So here's the Raspberry Pi. We've got a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. And this is a great little machine. We've got a micro SD card in there. That SD card is already set up with RetroPie, and it's got MAME ROMs on it. If you want to, there's plenty of resources on downloading RetroPie, burning it to a card. If you are looking for ROMs, there's plenty of places on the internet that you can find them. Also outside of the scope of this video. But I have this all set up with the ROMs that I want to use for the driving games. Okay, so we are really janking it up here tonight. So here is the Raspberry Pi. And let's see if we can get a better focus on that. So Raspberry Pi, we've got the power, we've got HDMI, and USB, we've got a keyboard and a mouse. And there's the mouse, and the keyboard is right there. Because when we start this up, I'm guessing that we're gonna have some problems. We're gonna need a keyboard and a mouse. Up here, you've got the LCD converter, and you've got power going in here, and you've got HDMI going in here. Converter converts it to the monitor. So now we just kind of plug it in and hold on to your butts. And now we plug in the converter board. That goes there. And we should be all good to go. Let's go around here and see what the heck happens. Look at that. All right. And I think next steps, of course, are to, the screen seems to be working okay. I would like to get it rotated. I don't know how that's going to happen. I think there's a config file that we can change on the Raspberry Pi. And then we'll plug in the wireless controller and we'll get the steering wheel hooked up and we will be playing racing games. Okay, so we're now on day 2 of the project and the lighting is much better now. It's not so dark outside. And so let's just pick up where we left. So what I'm gonna do, because of where we were able to get to yesterday, RetroPie actually wanted us to configure the inputs. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna unplug the mouse here, and I'm gonna replace the mouse with a Xbox wireless control module. So this is just a USB module that connects to either a Windows PC or in this case a Raspberry Pi. And what this does is this allows me to use the Xbox 360 controller. They also have the same thing for the Xbox One, although I don't know specifically about the compatibility on an Xbox One. Well, I don't know about the compatibility with the Xbox One controllers with the Raspberry Pi or anything like that. So we now have this plugged in, so we should be able to turn everything on and then use the Xbox 360 controller to configure everything. Okay, we're now making a connection here. Great. And the cool thing is this just kind of works. So let's go ahead and start up main. We are, of course, sideways. I'm gonna have to fix that via some software settings. So let's start a game up. I don't even know what game this is gonna be. Okay, so add a couple coins and start playing. And so this seems to be working okay. I want to flip the screen and let's get the wireless steering wheel hooked up. Okay, so I managed to get the screen rotated, and the way I did that was I SSH'd into the Raspberry Pi and I added a line to the boot config file, and I just said rotate the display. So basically that's that. And now we are in the correct orientation. We've got the emulators, and let's see what we can do. Okay, great. This is looking really, really good. And let's play, who knows? Let's play Aero Fighters. Sorry for all the glare. This is really a terrible quality video. Look at that. All right, so let's insert some coins. Bring, bring, bring. All right, so what have we done here? So basically what we've done here is we have completely disassembled the original main board that was Centipede Missile Command, Crystal Castles, and Millipede, and we replaced it with a Raspberry Pi that's doing emulation into RetroPie. We can play Atari 2600 games here, we can play Nintendo, Super NES, MAME, really anything that we want to play really is playable here. The control panel has been completely disconnected, so we are using an Xbox 360 wireless controller. We're using the keyboard to manage some of the commands. The mouse is no longer plugged in, but now what we want to do is we want to hook the steering wheel up, and we want to get it to a point where we can do everything with the steering wheel. That's not gonna be super secure. Figure that out later. Get the pedals here. This is the floor. Okay, so now we are able to control all the menus. All right, so here we are. This is the machine with the steering wheel and the pedals, and we are able to control everything from here. Okay, so there we go. Okay, look at that. Now what I was hoping is that it was gonna fill the screen, but it's clearly not doing that. Okay, so the electronics are basically done. I was able to change the settings on Raspberry Pi. I don't love that it's not full screen, but we'll figure that out. And I need to get a control panel that doesn't have all the buttons on it and everything so that I can just mount the steering wheel and be good with that. The no sound on this is actually kind of bothering me a little bit, so I grabbed these speakers off of my computer. I'm going to plug these directly into the Raspberry Pi and get this all set up, and I will be right back. Now that we have the sort of core functionality set up, I wanted to clean up the back a little bit. The back was really, really janky, and just wires were hanging everywhere, and it really was not a professional setup. Not that this is a professional setup, but so what I did was, you see here, I basically put double-sided tape onto this to mount it. Eventually, if this all works, I'm gonna screw it all in. You see the little board here that has the settings for this controller board is also double-sided taped in. We over here have the Raspberry Pi, which is double-sided taped. And this goes to the Xbox 360 wireless controller, which is here, which is also double-sided taped in. And this guy goes to the keyboard, which is down there. Now that's very, very temporary. I'm just basically gonna set the games up, and then I'm gonna pull the keyboard out, and we won't ever need to use it again. But while we're getting the games set up and we're getting all the controls the way we want them, we wanna have access to that keyboard because that's gonna be pretty critical to the whole thing. You see down here, I've got these two speakers. Now this is just a Logitech speaker set. The plug is plugged into this controller board here. These speakers are also going to be going away. These are going to be replaced with a amp, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna run an amp, and then we're gonna run some 20-watt speakers out of this thing. Then we can pull the keyboard, we can pull the subwoofer and those two speakers out. And honestly, that's 99% of those wires down there. We have a power strip there, and that power strip is basically the Raspberry Pi, the controller board, and the speakers. And then that goes to this. And then theoretically, all we need to do is plug this in, and we should be good to go. Plugged in, on, everything looks like it's coming on. Great, it all works.
Get ready.